So last week we were talking about the whole topic, is the PSVR2 failing? Obviously, a lot of people chimed in on that topic. It's been posted everywhere. We've seen a lot of game journalists clickbaiting super hard saying it's a flop. They're not even asking the question. At least over here we ask the question, right? That's the question. We got to answer the question. They're just like, no, it's a flop. That's it. It's failing. It's garbage. That's it. Dead in the water, dead on arrival. GameSpot, if you've seen them, they posted it like 20 times, man. It was the same thing again and again and again and again and again. It was like the PSVR2 is a flop. That's all they said. It's a flop. And it was a link to their article. I'm like, bro. And it was all based off of this Bloomberg article from Takashi Mochizuki, if I'm pronouncing his name right, where that analyst was saying that, oh yeah, the PSVR2 is failing. It hasn't sold that much. It's performing poorly. It needs a price cut or it's going to have a disaster, whatever. And so we're going to jump into this topic a little deeper because there is some better numbers and some better kind of math, if you will, which I'm not that great at, posted over by Tweakdown. And they put a pretty decent article out that I think can really put this into perspective that I wanted to go through with you guys. So we're going to go over to the article. We're going to discuss this. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and let's go over there right now. All right, so this is what they said. Sony has apparently sold about 300,000 units, which is not terrible compared to the PSVR1, which you have to keep in mind. Again, they go on talking about how, the Bloomberg article saying, oh, this is a fail, blah, 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 blah. It's selling poorly. It was a bunch of doom and gloom coverage for the VR market. And they said, the analyst said, I suspect a price cut of the PSVR2 will be needed to avoid a complete disaster of their new product. Now, I think a price cut would be good because a lot of the people that I've been seeing on social media and even in my own comment section who said, I asked in that other video, what is holding you back from PSVR2? And I've seen people say this online in other, forums and threads as well. And that is the price. The price is a big thing. Now, obviously for the technology, it's a good price, but for your everyday consumer, especially in this economy, it's still a very steep price to get into that market. And, it's the price of a console, of the PS5. So I think price cut, even like $50 off would be really good, because then it's like, oh, I got that extra $50 that I'm saving because they did a price cut or a sale or whatever. I can put that towards a game, because most PSVR2 games are not fully priced. I think the only one really is Horizon Call of the Mountain that's like full price. Most of them are like $30 to $50 games for the most part, which is really, really nice to say the least. So anyways, let's keep going here. Taking a quick look at the PSVR sales, the PSVR1 sold 915,000 units in the first 5 months, October 2016 to February 2007. You got to keep that in mind. 5 months to sell that, and the PSVR2 has sold one third of that in a single month, which is insane. That is significant. Also, considering the PS4's installed base had significantly outpaced the PS5's installed base, although the PSVR2 is more expensive with a $549 price tag, right? So you got to keep that in mind as well. So we can't get a complete comparison, they said, and I agree, because it's hard to know exactly how many units PSVR1 sold in its first month of the market. How much did it sell then, right? We're going to know a little bit better picture once we get to the 5-month mark with the PSVR2, and then we can compare, okay, how is it performing? How is it tracking at that point? Because usually, right out of the gate, month one, you would assume the sales are going to be a little bit stronger and higher, and it'll kind of, tail off a little bit. That said, excuse me, I think we're still on track to, outpace the PSVR1. We got a couple different things to consider here. So let's go over here. So we got the PSVR sales, right? So headset sales in million units from 2016 to 2020. So as of 2020, I guess this was 116.9, almost 117 million PS4s and 5 million PSVR sales with a 4% attach rate, which is pretty decent when you think about it. 4% of PS4 owners owned a PSVR1. And considering VR, especially then, was even more niche. Like, I feel like the player base has increased with the VR industry, I guess, if you will, for lack of a better word. So going on from that, they're basically saying that the PSVR2 sold 300,000 units. and Sony had sold at least 32.1 million PS5 consoles, then the attach rate is about 0.9%. But the attach rate's probably a little bit lower, they said, because we don't actually have PS5 sold in the January to March 2023 period. That's 3 months, which coincides with the PSVR2 launch. So we don't have those numbers, unfortunately. So it's probably slightly lower. I would just, guessing it maybe more closer to like 0.8. I don't know, right? I'm not a professional analyst. I'm just spitballing here. But what's interesting, the PSVR1, right? The attach rate in a similar period. We can't determine exactly because, again, the first PSVR1 sales figures Sony had released included the first 5 months of sales, right? October 2016 to February 2017. You gotta keep that in mind. Sony had confirmed, though, that the PSVR1 sold 915,000 units worldwide at that time, 5 month, window, right? Based on the above data, they said, we can determine the attach rate for the PSVR1. We're going to check this graph in a second. For this period, our data shows that it had sold about 57.3 million PS4s through Q3 FY16, which coincides with the PSVR1's October 2016 launch. Therefore, PSVR1 would have had an attach rate of about 0.15% after 5 months of sales. Okay, 5 months of sales. If we are, let's say, let's go a little bit lower than 0.9, because again, we don't know how many PS5s were sold in January to March. It could be as low as like 0.7% even, but let's go like somewhere in the middle, 0.8. That's about half. That's already half of what the PSVR1's attach rate was after 5 months. That's a pretty good attach rate, because you got to keep in mind, we don't have as many PS5s on the market yet, right? We had 57.3 million PS4s. Let's go to the other graph. So lifetime as of the end of 2022. So again, we don't have the first 3 months of 2023. The PS4 sold a total of 117.2 million, and the PS5 was sitting at 32. Keep in mind, 57.3 million PS4s, 57.3 million, right? 57. That is 25 million more than what the PS5 had at the end of December. Do I think that the PS5 sold 25 million units from January to March of 2023? No, I don't think they sold 25 million units in that span. They might have sold 5 to 7 million units. I don't know for sure. No one knows, but I definitely don't think they sold almost the exact number that they had for the first 2 years, 3 years. How long has it been out now? 2 years or whatever of the PS5. I don't think they sold all that in 3 months. So the attach rate's definitely way better for the PS5, because again, PSVR1, it was 57, what was it, 57.3 I said? 57.3 million PS4s at the time, and PS5 were, let's go modest. Let's say they hypothetically sold 8 million PS5s in the first 3 months of this year, which again is possible, but I don't know that they sold that many in 3 months. But let's say they did. That would be still 40 million, which is putting it at 17 million less than the PS4, which is significantly better of an attach rate when you kind of offset all the numbers and whatnot. All that to say, I guess the bottom line is the PSVR2 is selling way better than the PSVR1 already in this short span, right? And considering the attach rate, right? So you got to keep that in mind. And I also seen, I can't remember where it was. There's some numbers someone posted somewhere, basically that the PSVR2 seems to be one of the best selling games one of the best selling VR units in the market so far, because the Oculus Rift, for example, the original, sold only 145,000 in 3 months. The PSVR1, again, we only have 5 months, which took 920,000, 5 months for that much. The Pico 4, I don't know how you pronounce it, sold only 47,000 in its first month, which is significantly less than the PSVR2. The Oculus Quest 1 sold, let's start with the Steam Deck's apparently sold 46,000 in its first month, and in 4 months it sold 150 almost, which is still significantly less, like half of what PSVR2 did in 1 month. And then the Oculus Quest sold in 4 months 425,000, which is slightly more than what the PSVR2 is at right now, but it took 4 months to get there. The only thing I'm seeing that probably did better, and again, we don't have, I don't see the numbers for the first month or 3 months, it's only 5 months, is the Oculus Quest 2, which was sitting at almost 9, 1.87 million. So 1,870,000 units in 5 months. So that one's probably doing better. I don't see the PSVR2 hitting that. Maybe anything's possible, right? But I don't see that happening, because that would be a significant attach rate at that point. I don't see that happening, but you never know. You never know. Also worth noting, by the way, in 2 years, the Oculus Quest 2 sold about 15 million, which a VR that's niche, that's pretty significant. You know what I mean? Like, granted, it's not like, you know, numbers of like a PS5 or PS4 or Nintendo Switch or Xbox One or Xbox Series X or S or whatever. It's probably not gonna, it's not those numbers, but 15 million for one VR unit in 2 years, that's pretty good. I mean, you know, the VR market is getting a lot bigger than it ever was. So all that to say, I think the PSVR2 is doing quite well, a lot better than people are giving it credit for. And I really hope that it continues to do well, and that Sony, I think Sony's invested in this, man. Like, think about this. They had the PSVR 1. It wasn't like, I mean, overly successful. It was solid, I guess, but it wasn't like mind-blowingly successful or anything. And they still decided to take a risk releasing a PSVR 2. So obviously they believe in this thing. Obviously they're investing in it. I'm hoping they're not going to, you know, do what they did with the Vita. Like I said, that's everyone's concern. We've seen what they did at the Vita, and they just kind of like, you know, their support for it kind of tailed off really quick. It just kind of dipped. And then that's why the Vita kind of flopped at the end. I mean, the Vita is a great console. People are still playing it to this day and all that, but it was the support. We need the support. We need those first party strong titles. Sony has so many at their disposal. Yes, I know Spider-Man's going to make everyone nauseous, but who knows? Maybe there's a way to do it. You know, maybe it's one of those things that's like, if you're really adjusted to VR, then, you know, you can get adjusted to a game like that. You know, we've got adjusted to all other kinds of VR games. Maybe we could pull it off. I don't know. Even if not Spider-Man, Uncharted would be perfect in VR. The Last of Us would be perfect, right? There's so many, even a game like Ratchet and Clank, man, that'd be a lot of fun. It'd be beautiful, you know, kind of like cartoony animation style. I mean, there's so many possibilities. They have so much at their disposal. They would be crazy not to, you know, really go hard at this and really support it. I think that's what it needs. It's already got some solid third-party support. Some of the most popular games on other VR units, you know, The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, Chapter 1 and 2, Beat Saber's coming. I mean, some of the best games that are on other VR units are either already on PSVR 2 or have been confirmed to be coming to PSVR 2. I think the big one everybody would really want is Half-Life Alyx. I don't know if it's going to happen because I think it's owned by Valve, right? Who owns Steam. So why would, I don't know, maybe, who knows, but I don't know if it will. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. I wanted to go through this again because, again, these are a little bit more solid numbers. And it just shows that it's doing pretty good. And let's just hope that it continues to do so. Again, let me know in the comments below. What do you want to see from the PSVR 2, you know, as a whole? Either whether you've already bought one or maybe you're hesitant. What do you want or need to see from this platform, I guess, to really either jump in or to be confident in it, if you've already jumped in? Let me know your thoughts and stick around for more content here on the channel. Till the next one, game on. I'll see you guys soon.